Ilhan Omar is going very, very far. Ilhan Omar doubling down on her nasty Charlie Kirk comment, saying that legacy belongs in dustbin of history. You might say, well, is that taken out of context? I don't think so. Here, let me give you the context. This is Ilhan Omar on CNN.
This is someone who was a husband and a father, and in the days after his shocking death, that happened as a result of his views, or it happened as a result as he was sharing his views publicly with people, that people found it jarring to hear such criticism of that in the immediate aftermath of
what I find jarring is that there's so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible things that he said, that they agree with that they're willing to have monuments for him, that they want to create a day to honor him, and that they want to produce resolutions in the House of Congress honoring his life and legacy. It is one thing to care about his life, because obviously so many people loved him, including his children and wife. But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every single day.
That was Maroon 5 extra Ilhan Omar there, talking about Charlie Kirk as if she's accomplished anything, even in the realm of what he has. Just shocking. You know, it's stunning to see it, because you don't have to be that awful. Like, there's no law saying you have to be among the 5 worst people in America. You don't just because you've been there before doesn't mean you have to stay there. But I don't know. Maybe she wants to hold on to the title, I suppose. Now, of course, she's competing with others. AOC, she's condemning the ignorant rhetoric of Charlie Kirk in response to the House tribute. By the way, I should mention, none of this stuff is true. You know, like, a lot of the comments that they're sharing that Charlie Kirk actually said are either completely made up, like seemingly from maybe ChatGPT, but seemingly completely made up, and either that or just totally taken out of context. Like, you know, to the point of some of these clips that have been shared are Charlie Kirk quoting someone else while he was criticizing that person. And they're like, look, he said this. Well, yeah, he said it when he was quoting the person he was criticizing. I mean, they'll break any rule to stay on point here. Their point, of course, being we can't honor Charlie Kirk as a person because he said something I didn't like once. Now, of course, people say stuff that I don't like all the time. I still can be sad when they get killed. That's really easy to do for human beings. AOC not really falling into that category. She said this: we should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake. Who, after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi, claimed that some amazing patriot out there should bail out his assailant, and accused Jews of controlling not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans, far from working tirelessly to promote unity as asserted by the majority in this resolution. We can condemn his horrific assassination and the scourge of political violence without uplifting these ideas. Can you, though? I mean, he should be able to do that if you actually meant the first part, right? Like, I don't think there's any Democrat who liked Charlie Kirk's opinions. I think when you look at of course you can go and you can find the worst things that people say and say, oh gosh, you know, and let me extrapolate an entire false personality out of them. You know, that's what, of course, she's doing. And, you know, again, to be fair, she's got like 9 brain cells. They don't really see each other. They're kind of like, you know, around corners, so they can't really communicate. I get that this is a, you know, very low-hanging fruit here when it comes to criticizing AOC, but it is endemic of what we're seeing on a lot of the left, especially online. And again, you know, you should think of someone like AOC as less of a congresswoman, more of like an influencer, right? Like, she's not an actual, she's no serious person. By the way, there's some on the right that you could say the same stuff about. But like AOC, you can't look at her and think, oh, there's a congresswoman with a serious opinion. You kind of have to look at it more in that, you know, influencer type of level. You know, that's, you know, hawking some bizarre product or can't figure out where her what a garbage disposal is. Like there's not a lot going on there, but still, I do think that there are a lot of people who feel that way. You go to Media Matters and you take your 3 or 4 things you found on there in a 10-second search and you kind of spout it out there and act like you have an idea of what you're talking about. Quite clearly she doesn't, but again, she's kind of just like competing for this, dumbest person in public life sort of role. And I don't even know why she's bothering, because we have Jasmine Crockett already. She's already here. You can try really, really hard to compete with her, but she already exists. And so why not just let her be Jasmine? Because all these others are pretenders. They're fakers. The AOCs, the Ilhan Omars, they're jokes compared to her. Jasmine is there running the show. And here she is talking about, again, these people keep getting booked on the same network. I don't know if that has anything to do with this, but Jasmine Crockett not honoring Charlie on CNN.
A resolution that came before the House this past week honoring Charlie Kirk. And there were 58 Democrats who voted against it. You were one.
Yeah.
Why?
Absolutely. You know what? One of the things I do want to point out that's not been laid out that honestly hurts my heart.
This is going to be a smart point.
When I saw the no votes, there were only 2 Caucasians. For the most part, the only people that voted no were people of color.
Oh, no.
Because the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there was rhetoric that specifically targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was specifically to us. So if there was any way that I was going to honor somebody who decided that they were just going to negatively talk about me and proclaim that I was somehow involved in the great white replacement, I'm not honoring that kind of stuff.
Blatant lies. I mean, it's just incredible that even after a man is just shot in front of our eyes, they can't even bring themselves to say anything that's true. It is really fascinating. The discipline. They talk about message discipline a lot in politics. The discipline that they are so dedicated to stupidity and so dedicated to lying about people they don't like, people who want lower tax rates than them, people who don't want babies to be extinguished in the womb. Those horrible enemies of theirs, they will do anything. They're so dedicated, even the emotion of watching a bunch of murders won't stop them. It's really legitimately incredible.